What is going on YouTube? It's your boy, Mr. Random, and I have a very quick question for you guys before we start the video. Now, how many of you guys have always wanted, always dreamed of having a Ford Mustang Cobra and getting your hands on all that power and all that performance, but unfortunately your wallet says otherwise? Well, that is why I decided to make this video, and of course I'm talking about 4 cars that come stock from factory with the infamous 4-valve Mustang Cobra engine, guys. And guess what? This is the best part. They're actually under $10,000. Hell, some of these cars are even under $5,000, guys. So that's right. In today's video, I'm going to show you 4 cars that come with a Mustang Cobra engine in it that will not break your wallet. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright guys, and we're going to start this list with the very fitting and the very first car to actually feature the actual 4-valve Cobra engine. And believe it or not, you know how people are like, hey, that car has a Cobra engine. Actually, on the contrary, the Cobra has a Lincoln Mark 8 engine. That's right, the engine was the first of its kind in Ford's modular engine family. The 4.6 liter V8 produced 280 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 285 pound-feet of torque. That's right, guys, your precious Terminator Cobra actually has a Lincoln Mark 8 engine. Now, the later year, we're going to stick actually with a 1998 version of the Mark 8. It actually did produce about, it was like 290 horsepower in the Lincoln Mark 8 LSC. And the best part about these cars, guys, is you can find one relatively in good condition for just about between $3,000 and $5,000. Now, moving on down the list, we have the 1995 to 1998 Lincoln Continental, and it's pretty much just a bigger, heavier, more luxurious version of the Lincoln Mark 8. But the best part, like of course the purpose of this video is, it does feature that quote-unquote Mustang Cobra engine. Now, the Lincoln Mark 8 weighed about 3,868 pounds. It got about 17 miles to the gallon, 24 highway, produced 260 horsepower. And the best part, again, like the Lincoln Mark 8, you can find a fairly decent Lincoln Continental for the astonishing price of $2,500 to $3,000. And next up on the list, we have the short-lived Lincoln Aviator. Now, I said Aviator, not Navigator. Just like the Lincoln Navigator was the fancy version of the Ford Expedition, well, the Lincoln Aviator was the fancy version of the Mercury Mountaineer or the Ford Explorer. Actually, the Lincoln Aviator is a mid-size luxury sport vehicle, unlike the Ford Explorer, which was a little bit more sporty. Now, unfortunately, the Lincoln Aviator didn't sell that well. I guess there wasn't many people in the market that really wanted a mid-size or really small luxury SUV. It was kind of pointless given the fact that there was already the Mercury Mountaineer. But this is the best part about the Lincoln Aviator, though, that it did feature the famous legendary 4-valve 4.6 liter V8 producing 302 horsepower. Now, unfortunately, the Lincoln Aviator did weigh 4,800 pounds, but hey, it doesn't matter, man. You got a Cobra engine in there. of course, I saved the best for last. Of course, I'm talking about the 2003 Mercury Marauder. Now, it was produced until 2004, so for a full year, but the story to the beginning of the Mercury Marauder is actually one of the coolest I've ever heard. What happened was, after they finished developing the Terminator Cobra, the team at SVT, Ford's special vehicle team, they had, they had the Mustang Cobra, Terminator Cobra, engine just laying around, and they just sat there in a meeting one day, and they said, what should we do? We just developed the Terminator Cobra engine, it had been tuned a little bit better, had, been modified a little bit better, and then the engineers at Mercury said, hey, why don't we just throw this Terminator Cobra engine in a Ford Crown Victoria? And of course, you have one of the most badass four-door sedans ever produced, period. The Mercury Marauder produced 302 horsepower. Of course, it had the 4.6 liter 4-valve V8. It had 17 miles to the gallon city and 23 highway. It had 318 pound-feet of torque, and it was an absolute beast. Now, if you play your cards just right, you can find yourself a decent Marauder in the price range between $7,000 and just barely making it to the list, $10,000. Bacon and eggs taste just right. Strawberry pancakes, oh nice. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like.